another enclosure build. Remember those new spiders that we just got? Well, we got to get to it and get them set up in some beautiful new enclosures. They're going to be as gorgeous as they are. So today, we're going to be working on this enclosure for this animal here. This is that Thailand golden fringe tarantula. It's absolutely stunning, but I don't know anybody could possibly appreciate it in this. So we're going to have to do something really, really special for this incredible animal. What do you think we're going to do? Let's take a peek. Now, if you guys remember a while back, I had a couple of 12-inch enclosures, and I went and did a bunch of them. I went and did the backs, just foamed them all in, because I had, when you start a tube, you may as well use it all up. Kind of had a different idea of what I want to do for this Thailand species, this golden fringe. I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit of a twist. Maybe this species comes from something like some of the different temple ruins. So this is honestly just like a bust or a statue that's been in our bathroom. We've had it for probably 25, 30 years. Well, today I thought it would fit absolutely perfect in this type of sized habitat. But I think we're going to have to do some sort of work to make it work best. So I took it out to the garage and I cut it in half. And that way it's going to, once we chisel away some of that foam, we'll be able to get this right up back there against the back. I might go and break off a few little pieces here so it looks like temple ruins. The species in question that we're talking about is kind of a fossorial species. So it's going to need deep substrate. It's going to need burrows and areas to get into it. So we're going to have to kind of bring that level of that substrate up. So lots of things to consider. Let's get to it. All right, so we've chipped away the foam. The other thing I've done is I've taken this outside and I've taken it to the grinder, to the angle grinder, and I've chipped away some different areas. So it would show a little bit more wear if it was actually made out of stone as a temple. And then the gotta bear in mind is this plus the entire background will be skim coated in quickcrete of some type, and we'll probably put some dye in it to give it a bit more natural type look. So next step is we're going to go and foam this one in place. We went and picked up another can of great stuff. This is all they had at the store at the time. It's fall here, so this is stuff that's often selling out, but it'll still totally work. And it'll probably also fill up the cavity behind here as well, so that way, once it's all sealed together, it'll all be one big piece. So let's get to it. All right, well, I didn't give you guys a time lapse of me chipping away the foam because what I did is I started last night chipping some of it away because the foam honestly came out and like almost completely covered the face. That's the one negative of using some of those really heavy gap filling expanding foam units. The other factor is the fact that because it gets so incredibly thick and it comes out like 3-4 inches, is it often doesn't fully cure on the inside. So by chipping it away, it allowed it to cure a little bit better overnight. If you look at some of these areas here, you can see some of the areas here where it's still kind of shiny and it's formed a new outer coat. But we're going to be coating this thing anyways with like a cement-like product to give it a more of a rocky kind of a look. Something that you would see reminiscent of an actual temple. So I'm going to just continue chipping away a little bit, cleaning it up so I can get a nice smooth surface to work with and remove some of this sharpness of it so it looks a bit more like a rock wall. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get started on the next step. Cleaned out below the ear a little bit. It's got some ear damage. It's got different scratches and stuff. We broke a portion of the nose off, as you guys saw. So it's going to look something a little bit weather worn, something that's an old ancient temple ruins. So it's all ready to go. We had a couple of spots where the glass was exposed, but I think there's enough stuff there for texture that the cement should adhere to it. Hopefully, we'll see. And if not, I can always cover it up afterwards. But to go on the next step is where we're going to use a product similar to this. And it doesn't really matter what brand it is. All right, coat number 1 is done. You can kind of see we're getting those textures that we want. I don't know if I really want it the kind of brown mud kind of color. I might add a little bit of black, but we're going to be doing several coats. You can see little spots like this. Now we've placed the second coat on. Now the thing that I like to do in between as it starts getting thicker is you see how it all tends to build up here and you kind of lose that definition, is I'll take a dry brush. So I have several different brushes here and I'll go and just kind of dabble it. And you see how much difference it gives it just in texture alone? You don't have to do the whole thing, but it basically what it does is it also takes away any of that extra material that might be there, so you don't get any drips. Now the base, I'm not too worried about the base because the base itself is going to be covered by substrate. All right, well, honestly, I think I'm done. I originally had planned on using some acrylics and maybe kind of dabbing, dry brushing the statue and the walls, making me looking like moss. But maybe right now, I like how it kind of blends in and let the greenery be the moss and the plants. And then we've got the hide, you know, because it is a fossorial species. It can go ahead and burrow underneath it if it chooses. But we've added some little cebu blue. It's got a nice leaf shape. But overall, I think it turned out absolutely awesome. Old worlds, they tend to be very defensive, and they often have very, very medically significant venom. But she is absolutely gorgeous. Maybe we can just place her thing in here and we can coax her out on her own. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Now they get their name aureotibialis from the Latin aureus, aureus meaning golden, and tibialis meaning tibia, for the patterning, the golden patterning that you see on her tibias here. Just a striking spider. And as mentioned at the beginning, the reason for the theme of the enclosure is that this species inhabits tropical rainforests of Thailand, Myanmar, and Malaysia. So warm tropical rainforest, room temperature should be fine. The species could actually tolerate a little bit warmer. Let's see if we can get her into her enclosure. Come on. Come on, up you go. Come on, little girl. Where are you going? Don't you want to go in the house? Look at how nice that house is. It's got plants. Well, that was perfect. She's out exploring her new habitat, and more than likely we'll find that burrow, and oh, maybe not. Thought for certain she was going to find that burrow and just vanish. Now this is, as I mentioned, a true fossorial species. Ideally, and I know in the comments people will say that, you know, I should have used a different enclosure, but these are the enclosures that I have. So we've given her about 4 inches of substrate. We've put the cork tube down in there. We've added some different soil into the tube so she can dig, but she's more than welcome to also dig around that tube, under the tube, everywhere. She is absolutely gorgeous. Probably not going to be long before she finds her tunnel. Well, if you guys enjoyed today's build, I had a lot of fun making this one. Still very much nature inspired to me, but with a little bit of different touch of whimsy to it. Hopefully this little girl absolutely loves it. I must make a shout out to my good friend Dawn Schneider over at Tangled in Webs. She's an incredible tarantula supplier for all of Canada, and she's the one that hooked me up with this incredible girl. So thank you very much, Dawn, and we'll see you at the next one. Take care, guys. Cheers.